How do you do, everybody? Good morning. Okay, so this morning, just very, very briefly, I wanted to get you guys re-familiarized with a handful of GAR amendment forms, okay? Does everybody know how many special purpose GAR amendment forms there are? Quick question, trick question. There's like 11. There is one general, generic, all-purpose amendment form, and then there's like 10 special purpose ones, okay? The reason I'm doing this presentation today is because most people do that one GAR 701 generic for everything. And try to write the language that they need for the special purposes. When you don't have to, it's already pre-written for you. So the goal of today is to refamiliarize yourselves with some of the special purpose forms so that you know when and how they are used, okay? So let's talk generic amendments. There are, like I said, 11 special purpose amendment forms. Just as a review, exhibits are labeled A, B, and C, and amendments are labeled 1, 2, and 3, right? We always do numbers for amendments and letters for exhibits in a contract. So everybody should be familiar with the generic all-purpose 701, GAR 701 blank form, and it is what most of us are using most of the time. Of course, there is the other one that is probably used second most often is the amendment to address concerns with the actual property, and that is where you're doing your due diligence part, okay? Amendment to remove contingency. This is one that you may or may not use very often, and it is when you have a contingency in place and you want to pull it off. It is very easy to do so, and the language is literally right there. So you are removing a sale contingency, or removing the due diligence contingency, or removing the finance contingency, whichever the case may be, okay? Doesn't happen very often, but it does on occasion. Amendment to the due diligence period. This one happens all the time, am I right? Change the due diligence, and it is very, very simple to simply put in new dates, new times, get everybody to sign it, and you are good to go. All right. Amendment to the sales price. This one we use all the time also. One of the specific things that you need to remember on there is whether or not, if you're changing the sales price, are you changing the appraisal contingency also in that same process? Okay. Any questions on that? Use this one. Okay, amendment to change the closing and possession date, probably the next most used one, and the one that frustrates Karen the most. And you guys the most, because you don't get paid on time. The biggest thing I can tell you, and one of the ongoing challenges that we always have here, is y'all want to close things too fast. And I know everybody's trying to be aggressive and show your client that you can close something in 3 weeks or 4 weeks or before the end of the month, and you're trying to be a little aggressive. Give yourself time, because inevitably lenders are not working at the same pace as you and your clients are. All right. Amendment to remove contingency of sale or lease of the buyer's property. So this is a specific one where you have a sale contingency on it, and this is how you pull that sale contingency off. Okay. So a lot of times I get calls on the broker hotline, hey, I need an amendment with the language that does exactly this, and I end up directing them straight to this form. Amendment to remove the inspection or contingency amendment. So this is one, if you had due diligence or if you had an inspection contingency somewhere in there, this is how you would pull it off. Okay? Amendment to authorize buyer to make repairs and or improvements prior to the closing amendment. Sean's smiling. Why is Sean smiling?
That's risky business right now.
Amen to that, brother. I couldn't agree with you more. I would never want to do this. If you're in this situation, take on a partner with your broker before you ever do so, okay? Because it is extremely dangerous. And this one is is by far the least used, and the one that I would say could potentially be used most often, and that is the amendment to the brokerage agreement. All right, you take a listing. The listing is for $250,000. A month into it, your client says, I want to reduce to $240,000. What do you, if you want to be really, really technical, this would be the amendment that you would use to the brokerage agreement. The brokerage agreement is the one that says your price is $250,000. You would do an amendment here to change it to $240,000. Okay? Do we require that? Typically, no. Usually, I say get it in writing. An email with a price reduction is adequate. But this is really the technical way. If you wanted to be, according to the letter of the law, this would be the best way to do it. Okay? New construction change order amendment. Anybody ever use this one? I haven't. For what it's worth, but it's there if you ever need it. I love this one, binding agreement confirmation amendment number. So this is one that removes confusion if you, on the binding agreement date. Very, very simple. F733. That's all of them, folks. Any questions on any of the special purpose amendment forms? Use them in good health. Let's go have a great day.